You're an average Star Wars fan. You saw Star Wars in the theater in 1977. You've seen the other films. And then in December of 2017, you have a couple of people suggest you look like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. So you decide to cosplay the character for charity. And things blow up from there. That's the story of our guest this week, Fluke Skywalker. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to it.
Welcome to Tatooine Sons, the only fan podcast to name an official Star Wars creature and to be endorsed by the writer-director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation, that there is a story. It is written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story, and that is why I am honored to be joined this week by the cosplay sensation Fluke Skywalker. In less than 5 years, Fluke Skywalker has become recognized within Star Wars fandom as the most recognizable cosplayer of the sequel trilogy version of Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill has even tweeted that Fluke looks more like Mark Hamill than even he does. And a few months ago, a major news publication incorrectly labeled a video as having Mark in it when it was really Fluke. But the best part of all this is that Fluke uses this uncanny resemblance to help kids and their families through charities like Ronald, McDonald House, and Make-A-Wish. I asked Fluke how he got started cosplaying Luke Skywalker.
I lost 90 pounds. It's just as simple as that. I've been a volunteer most of my life. Like when I was a kid, I would be doing like the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethons, riding my bike, raising money, and just kept it going. And then in 2006, one of my wife's coworkers said, "Hey, we get out of the Ronald McDonald House and we cook these Sunday brunches for the families down there about 5 or 6 times a year. You want to join us with your family?" I said, "Sure." My kids are 5 and 6, and went down there, and they thought they were all grown up flipping pancakes. That was great. And so we did that for 10 years to 2016. And then the Ronald McDonald House hired some professional chefs, and that kind of changed up the how we volunteer. So like, okay, now what? Over the course of the next year, I lost 90 pounds. I had short hair. Short hair and no beard. And I walked into the hardware store by me, and I was the first guy that said, "Hey, man, anybody ever tell you look just like Mark Hamill?" Like, no. I laughed too, right? No, I'm fat. No. So then we went to see Last Jedi. And it came in the arena style movie theater, like they have with couch seats, and turned the corner, short hair and no beard again. And a guy goes, "Hey, Luke Skywalker." So I'm like, oh, okay. So I got my gears spinning. And I told my wife, I said, my birthday's coming up. Why don't you buy me the white costume? I call that day wear, and the black one's evening wear. Buy me the white costume, and I will go up to Ronald McDonald House at Christmas time and take up a big armful of Star Wars toys. And like Shannon would do it, and let's see how that goes. And, we knew the people there from volunteering for 10 years. So they said, "Sure, come on up." So we did. And big hit, right? Kids all love beating the heck out of each other, lightsabers, having a good time running around and laughing and giggling. And, I see mom and dad smiling, not worried about bills and cancer and surgery and all that. And I'm like, that's cool. That's actually going to take their mind off that. I've done my job. And something started there that has never stopped. Oh, I got my hair and beard by the time I got into the Christmas. Okay. And something started there that's never stopped since that first visit. And it's constant. The guy there came right up to me and had his phone going on a live Facebook feed. He said, "Hey, Mr. Hamill, here's my cousin Jimmy." He said, "Hi, Mr. Hamill, Jimmy." Hi, Jimmy. So I don't know, what am I supposed to do? That's at first. So of all the stuff that I get to do, or at least have to do, the hardest thing, believe it or not, is not talking with some 9-year-old girl who's, bald and from, chemo and no eyebrows, because we talk Star Wars and have fun with that. The hardest thing I had to do is convince people, grown adults, I am not Mark Hamill. I'm not ready to carry around my checkbook with me at some point. You're going, look, see? Oh, there you go. So it's just a fluke of nature. And I thought that'll be a fun name to use, because me personally, I really don't care for accolades or anything that goes with it. I'll promote Fluke Skywalker all day and tell people, give to your local charities, or do whatever you want as far as Star Wars related, or however you want to volunteer. But me personally, I just don't really want any credit for it. So that's why I use the cosplay name Fluke Skywalker, just to volunteer and kind of stay incognito in a sense. So hopefully it's helped out a lot of people. I know I've done a lot of fundraisers over the years and raised a lot of money for charities. And if it just showing up with this face works, I'll do it.
That's awesome. So your story, as far as being involved this heavily in Star Wars fan world, started around The Last Jedi. And that film and just this coincidence that some people thought you looked like the Last Jedi version of Luke Skywalker. And our story started around that same movie as well, with a completely different story about the Porg, that on the Millennium Falcon. So we've got an episode that came out a couple of days ago that is a celebration of that film, The Last Jedi. And some people have had real problems with The Last Jedi. It's been a controversial film for sure. We love it. We loved it. We didn't know that people didn't like it for about 3 months after we started our podcast. We just kept talking about how much we loved the show. And so what are your thoughts on The Last Jedi? Since that's the version of Luke Skywalker that you portray.
Well, first thing that always comes to mind is I just can't believe how unbelievably handsome Mark Hamill was in the
He's a good-looking man.
Yeah, right? Unbelievably handsome. That's my go-to line, a little tongue-in-cheek wink, wink. So I have no problems with it. I saw the first movie in 1977. I was 13 years old and saw it in the theater first run, back when the Death Star blew up in a ball shape instead of a ring shape, all that stuff. And I've liked it ever since, but casually, as people have said, are you a big Star Wars fan? I said, well, I'm about a C+. I mean, if I got a trivia contest for your boys, they take me out round one. Ivan Bedard, who is the commander of the Kentucky Rebel Legion, who actually just helped me not only get my new saber, but helped me get all my processing, my paperwork. So I'm, as of yesterday, a member of the Rebel Legion now.
Congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you. So Ivan and I were talking, and we came to the conclusion that most of the cosplayers you might see at a show or wherever, Star Wars, they love it. Oh, we get to do charity at the end. Cool. I'm reverse. Charity. Oh, I can use Star Wars? Okay, cool. So that's kind of where I am on that. And I'll be the first to admit, people clean my clock on trivia and stuff. I try to learn as I go. I learn a little bit more. So when it comes to the movies, like let's say Return of the Jedi, and people go one way or the other, and I'm just kind of neutral. I go in the theater. I saw that several times because, we might be with somebody who's we're doing a fundraiser for, and eat popcorn there with them and looking at the screen. So, there's Luke Skywalker on the screen and the kids are eating popcorn with Luke Skywalker next to them. I just enjoy it no matter what the films are. People get really upset one way or another. And also, too, on that note, for anybody that does get upset, I love that person as much as the person who loves it, because the passion that they have for these films is undeniable. Whether you hate it or love it, I gotta respect anybody that has that level of passion. They're so into it, right? And there's not a lot of things that in life that you can really get into like that. And I think that's the best thing about all the films, even Last Jedi or the last three, is that the universal love of that film worldwide by every demographic you can name. I was totally blown away. Before I started doing any of this, I would have said your average Star Wars fan was the comic book guy from The Simpsons. That's what I would have said. Yeah, that would be in the regular, on episode 3, in line 15, you forgot to say, that whole thing corrected everybody. So, but now, wow, what an eye opener, man, was I ever wrong? I mean, you name it, young people, old people, black people, white people, straight people, gay people, every nation around the world is really into this. So that's the nice thing is too, just the universal appeal. Even for those who might hate, sequels and love prequels and such, or the first three, I absolutely love their passion. I'm always enthralled by meeting people that are just so into stuff, and like my friend Tim O'Sullivan, who builds all this C-3PO and the R2-D2s, and he's got that working Grogu, with animatronic Grogu that's just astounding. He's really into it, you got just love his level of commitment to building this stuff. So there's a lot of people that are really just actually have a real love for it from way back where, and I think they're fantastic.
That's awesome. So you mentioned a minute ago that you were in the theater in 1977 watching the original Star Wars, pre-special editions, pre-episode 4, at the title crawl or anything like that. Yeah, I know that's been 45 years ago. So I know that you have to go back in the way back machine in order to pull this back out. But what was it like being 13 years old, seeing Star Wars for the first time in theaters when it was such a radically different type of film and story to be watching? What was that like for you?
Yeah, you said it. You said it, radically different. So I grew up watching all the other stuff that everybody else did, the 2000s and ones, and some different sci-fi movies, Silent Running, things like that. Of course, Star Trek from way back. Old enough to be seeing it when I was a little kid, first run, then reruns in the 70s. So here's where I would say, up until Star Wars, it works the same way as Sgt. Pepper's. There's all the rock and roll up to Sgt. Pepper's, and then boom, everything shifted right after Sgt. Pepper's. That's what Star Wars is. All us the sci-fi films. Everything's just got this one direction. And the last one I saw that was going to be in the old school style of making films was Logan's Run, which I liked a lot. But if you take R2-D2 and put him up against Box, the computer in Logan's Run, which is basically just a trapezoid with different mirror shapes on it, right? Going around really just cheap thrown together stuff. I don't mean to knock people put together, but you know what I'm saying, compared to R2-D2.
Sure.
And that was, the seminal moment right there of like, okay, this is it. Everything's changed. It's a full 90 right here. And even as a kid, you got, you could appreciate a little bit more. And as you get older, you're like, man, there's just no going back. So ILM, pops out of that, and everything else that's come from Lucasfilm, and all the really cool effects that we've seen in Terminators and Aliens and on and on and on that they've been responsible for from this one film has just changed movie making forever. And so at 13, I caught the thing right away, not to the level that I have an appreciation now, but I still, I knew this was something brand new, and this was really cool. And I liked it a lot. I being the shortest kid in class, I really identify with R2-D2. So, but he came through. He's the hero, and then you do what you got to do. But, and the funny thing is, as it turns out, right now, Mark Hamill and I are the same height. So, and I'm probably about the same weight too. I might be a little heavier, but I'm losing. I lost 19 pounds this November.
Wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Tapeworm helps. So, but anyway, so this is the only time in my life I think being short's actually been a plus for me, because you fit right on the money when you're doing any of the cosplay. So, but yeah, like you said, that was a game changer right there. When that came out, we're never going back to junk.
I remember being at Star Wars Celebration Chicago in 2019 with Sam and Nate, and being there that last day when you showed up, when you came to be there, and seeing you and taking pictures and really it was a surreal experience for everybody around, because there was all of those questions. Did Mark just show up in costume to it? And then, you take a closer look and you're like, that's not Mark, but my gosh, he looks just like him. What was that experience for? Hey, you'd never been to a Star Wars Celebration before, I'm assuming.
No, I had not, and didn't even know about it until like the last minute. So the first guy that ever asked me to come help out a charity is Josh Sneed. He's a professional comedian, very funny, like joshsneed.com. His dad was one of the guys that worked at Kenner that worked on the designs of the original toys.
Wow.
And so before any of us got to see those, he would bring them home and be like a bubble in the X-Wing on production, like a malfunction. They had to fix it. He said, here, Josh, here you go. So Josh has these first run, anyway.
Wow.
So he's the one that invited me to do that. And then later in, 2019 coming up, he said, hey, Star Wars Celebrations in Chicago coming up. And I said, when is he? Oh, this weekend. I'm like, oh, really? I said, what is that? He said, well, it's kind of like this really cool show you might want to go to. Like, okay, well, I'm Cincinnati. It's 5.5 hours and, 3 hours with the Waze app, wink, wink. And so I can get up there. And so I bought a ticket, overpriced ticket on StubHub and went up and took up my then costume that was, in work in progress. Kind of did my thing, walked around and didn't know anybody. But except for Josh, I saw him there, and we talked for a little while, and that was always good. But yeah, it was kind of a good response. And the one that really was flooring me more than anything else was the San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. Mm-hmm. That one really went, wow. It's my daughter, Wedge. I call her that because she has my back just like Wedge does Luke, right? When we go do an event, I'm trying to create a magic moment for everybody. So I say, don't call me Dad, please. Just say, hey, Luke, when you want something. And I'll say, hey, Wedge. So I said, okay. So Wedge graduated high school. I said, there's so much art at this Comic-Con thing. You want to go? I said, yeah, it's high school presents. So we went out there. And day one, I'm just in regular civilian clothes out there. And we volunteered. We couldn't get tickets, so we volunteered. And that's a great way to do it, to get it for free. So you work for 3 hours, volunteer, and the rest of the time, the ticket's yours. So we handed out the bags and stuff when you come in, and the magazines and swag and stuff. And that was it. Day two, I came in costume. I think that was day 2 or day 3. I can't recall. Anyway, I think it was day 2. No, day 3 it was. Because 2, I had the white costume on, and it started ramping up there. But day 3 is where it went really insane, to where I think Mark had tweeted out something like, I'll be there in costume all 4 days. But I don't know if it was incognito. I didn't get the word for it. But whatever it was, that was the trigger. So my daughter and I were standing by the Star Wars sign on the backside of Hasbro, and a couple of Spider-Men were getting a picture there. I'm like, what are you guys looking about? Anyway, so they laughed, and my daughter said, Dad, can we get a picture here in front of Star Wars? You should do that. And I said, yeah, okay. So we kind of take a selfie there, and all of a sudden, the Darth Vader walks up, and he's like, we get a picture together? And I said, yeah, that would be great, man. You look awesome, right? So he comes up, and we're kind of doing a selfie. My daughter's taking it, and then a Princess Leia just happens to come around the corner. It's the right place, the right time. And she goes, can I get in here with you? I'm like, yeah. And then it started to grow and grow. And, they have those booths carpeted off, right? Everybody was on the outer edge of the carpet. It took maybe 15 minutes for that crowd to grow to maybe 300 people plus. Wow. And keep pushing in. I would say, can you please move back? Please move back. Because, it's starting to get hot. I'm cutting out of air. I can't see Wedge anymore. She's got my phone and my water. So I'm getting thirsty there. And, I'm at the top of my lungs going, I'm not Mark Hamill. I'm Harrison Ford. And the guy yells back, even better. So I tried like that too, but thankfully Hasbro rescued me out of that. They didn't have to, but they're very sweet to do that, and said, you want to come up on stage? And yeah, sure. So that was really a wild experience. Wow. And yeah, you can actually Google Mark Hamill lookalike Comic-Con 2019. And it'll pop up, or Mark Hamill look like stood in front of the Star Wars side, something like that. So anyway, that's out there running around. And then a guy from the Orange County Register did a story about it and clarified, this guy's just a cosplayer and he's doing for charity. So, so I don't know what to expect when I go back out, coming up here at the end of month, right? End of May coming up.
Yeah, just a few weeks.
I've been working very, very hard. I mean, even my username on Twitter is Fluke Skywalker, not M Hamill.
Right.
Right. And I work very hard in the whole Star Wars community to say, well, first of all, give to your charities near you, take care of them. And if you can volunteer for a charity, do that. And then the second thing is, I'm not Mark Hamill. I get that nonstop like that. Mr. Hamill, it's so nice to be able to send you a DM. You've been my childhood hero, and I was right back. I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but I'm not Mark Hamill. Google Fluke Skywalker. So that's a constant. And so that's one of those things that it's just a fluke, and but it makes a lot of people really, really happy. A lot of little kids have no clue who I am, so I take a Ray with me when I go places around here. Cool. And she and I are going to be in town doing Star Wars Celebration. I'm on television interview in the morning on the 4th, coming up here in a couple of days.
Fantastic.
Then at the Newport Aquarium in the afternoon from 1 to 3 with all the other Star Wars cosplayers. And then FC Cincinnati is our local soccer team, and they're having a Star Wars night, so they got in touch with me and asked me to come down. And I said, I don't do it for free. I don't make any money. I said, you have to volunteer. You have to give something to a charity and I'll volunteer for you because I've never made a penny doing this and I'll be happy if I never do. And they said, okay. So they're giving a handful of tickets to Make-A-Wish families and giving them some swag t-shirts and stuff and giving them a night out and, to have fun. And I think about bad times, have some good times. And so I'll be down there with Ray and there's a park called Washington Park in front of it. And then we march with the fans to the team entrance, and then I'll be inside taking pictures of them, and then when everybody gets seated, we'll go home and collapse.
Fluke kind of brushes past this in his last answer, but I want to point out something really cool that he said. He could pocket a lot of money off of all of these appearances. He's that spot on of a lookalike for the sequel trilogy version of Luke. But Fluke, excuse me, see, I can't even get it right. Fluke uses this opportunity to make the world a better place. Every bit of funding that he receives for these appearances goes to charity. It's really an awesome story. We'll get back to our conversation with Fluke in just a minute, but before we do that, I want to encourage you to check out our partners over at Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. And what that means is that for the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable all in one place. You can browse articles from topics you choose and just start playing, stop scrolling, start listening to it. And you can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports and science to Bitcoin and topics like Star Wars and Marvel and DC, whatever you want. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you out loud. And they also have podcasts as well. So you can explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Tatooine Sons is on there. They have digital radio. I've started using Newsly as my default podcast app, and you could try it out too. Just download and use Newsly for free by going right now to newsly.me or from the link in the description, and then use the promo code Tatooine Sons, TAT001 NES0NS to receive a 1-month free premium subscription. And when you do that, let us know what you think about it. And then mark your calendars for this Saturday evening, May 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. We changed it, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be hosting a fully interactive watch party on Stream Lounge to close out their Star Wars week. And what other movie would we want to watch except what we believe is the greatest of all the Star Wars movies, The Last Jedi. So during that time, you'll be able to chat and interact with us live while we all watch together. And then we'll be giving our running commentary all along the way. So grab a friend, join us at 8 p.m. Eastern on May 7th. All right, Fluke mentions the Ronald McDonald House several times in his answers. I asked him why this charity in particular is so important to him.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ronald McDonald House. So I told you we were cooking there with my family for 10 years, right?
Right.
And you get to see, 6 or 7 times a year, you get to see these families during brunch. And, they're just living the worst thing a parent can live. I'm a dad of 2, and I just can't imagine having a really sick child or one that, is so close to being terminal. And the good news is they're tied in. This Ronald McDonald House with Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is one of the top 3, I think, on the planet. They're really, really good. A lot of people come from all over the world to get their kids treated there. And thankfully, most of them, recover from whatever ails them, And so I started meeting these kids, and talking to them, talking to their parents and stuff, and hearing their stories. Like, oh, man, I just can't imagine, they've got bills on top of bills on top of bills on top of worrying about their kids. And, most people are away from home. A lot of people don't realize this, that there's families there that have been there over a year. I mean, one of the first families I met had the son. He was there 438 days because you have to go through multiple treatments. And you can do easy math. You go, wow, that's a year plus, right? So imagine staying in a hotel and paying that hotel bill, right, plus your food, plus your transportation, and trying to have some kind of entertainment for over a year. I mean, you'd have to sell your house just to pay the hotel bill. Wow. So Ronald McDonald kicks into that. So I'm like, I like what you guys do. So how can I help? So I try to do events all different kinds of fundraisers. Probably the one of the neatest ones that came up last May, where 2 different couples got in touch with me and said, "Hey, we'd like Luke. We're having Star Wars a Star Wars themed wedding, which I didn't know anything about. And we'd like Luke Skywalker to marry us. Would you marry us? And I said, yeah, I'm not going to do it for free. You've got to write a check to charity, and here's Ronald McDonald House or Make-A-Wish. You can do that. And they said, okay, it's going to be legal. And I said, well, hang on. So I went online and I got the minister's license. And then
I got ordained and licensed.
I did it. I got a state of Ohio, paid them $10 more. So now I can marry anybody in the United States. I'm in all 50 states. Totally legal. I got all the paperwork I signed. I have to sign it and all that.
So
then,
anybody listening to this that wants to get married at Star Wars Celebration in front of 10,000 other Star Wars fans, if they make a big enough donation to Ronald McDonald House, then you'll find them and do it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not putting you in that position.
Well, guess what? You are a mind reader. Something's coming up. I won't give it away. But when we go to the Ronald McDonald House, when we go out to the Star Wars Celebration, Tim and I fly in on Thursday night. So we're there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Friday at 6:00, several of us cosplayers who are doppelgangers, that's the best way to put it, are going over to the Ronald McDonald House. I've already had lightsabers sent there from Amazon. I ordered them and had them sent to my contact there. And some local person's actually bringing more Star Wars toys. And we're going to hand them out to the kids.
That's awesome.
And we also have a donation check from an event that's going to happen Sunday at the Star Wars Celebration I'm going to do. And it's pretty much related to what you said, but I don't want to blow any surprises. I've got about 3 really cool surprises I'm working on right now for the
can't wait.
Yeah. So, I thought, well, as long as we're out there, let's take care of the locals. So we're going to go to charity and take care of those kids out there and make sure that that Ronald McDonald House gets a check. And back here, there's the stuff, like I said, just coming May the 4th is for Make-A-Wish, but also I've added in 4 Paws for Disability, 4 Paws for Ability, excuse me. They train service dogs for vets, for disabled vets, for people with autism, whatever. And Tim has one too, because he is a Purple Heart veteran.
Wow.
From Basra. He made it out of there, and he almost blown to bits. Any pound IED, they rode up on with a Hummer, and it was set off and blew that thing up royal. And he's had to recover from that, and he's done wonders. And so I like helping his charity. And also there's another one called Blue Skies for the Good Guys, and they are paratroopers. And I'm not sure how they did, but I think they jump, and then whatever they make, they might help out. But whatever it is, they help out disabled veterans. And so
that's awesome.
That's the video where you saw me doing sign language with Robert. Yeah. That's the first time in my life I ever did sign language, and it was like, I made a couple of mistakes. There's nothing like your mistakes going viral around the world. But the rule is if you want to get the right answer to something on the internet, you put the wrong answer on. So when the people that did Wholesome Memes said, hey, Mark Hamill's such a good guy, when they saw that, after I put it up on Reddit, and then Rex Chapman popped in on that, and Rex said, I want to be Mark Hamill when I grow up. And then all of a sudden my inbox started exploding, and it was like, no, that's not Mark Hamill. I think that's Fluke Skywalker. And like Dietrich Bader, who we and I talked back and forth on Twitter, mostly about flowers, believe it or not, in our gardens. He was like chimed right in. No, I think that's Fluke Skywalker. Like, he knew me right out of the gate. That was kind of fun and very surreal, right? And so that took off, and then Mark answered and said, "No, that's my lookalike, or my lookalike is what he called me." So and then then I said, "I'm sorry, I'm sure your mailbox is blowing up, your inbox too. Sorry about that." And he said, that's okay, and I'm glad you do sign language. Really, touching moment there with Robert. I was like, yeah, that's cool. So that was always nice, but I'm just trying my darndest not to mess this up. I make mistakes as I go along, like anybody. I'm only human, and there's no really good guidebook on the shelf called "How to Cosplay Mark Hamill" or Luke Skywalker. What I'm trying, right? If I was cosplaying Mark Hamill, I'd have my hair short, and the beard would be shaved down a lot. So I'm trying to do Luke Skywalker for the last 3. So again, back to the pointing out, I'm not Mark Hamill type stuff. And I know there's somebody listening like, oh, you sound like a conceited guy. No, I swear to God, I'm not. Very,
no,
just
you don't sound that at all.
No. So, but if I can use this look to help other people out, why not? Right. So, and it's a lot of fun. I'm getting to do the wedding. So it's great. I did one here and one in a couple in New Jersey. Said, come up here. And I said, well, okay, but how can we do it so I don't make a penny and I don't spend a penny? And they said, well, we'll take care of your expenses and get you here and back and make sure that you're covered there. And I said, that's fine, as long as I don't make any money, because I don't want to make a cent while I'm doing this. So I flew up there to New Jersey and did their wedding for them. That's videos yet to be edited. And the other one is been online since I think maybe March. We shot it in November when they got married. It was my first ever. And it was really cool looking too, because I used the white robes, right? So it looks like actually like a priest type of, what they call that, a stole and a tippet that they might wear in an Episcopalian church or Catholic church, right? So that worked out really well because it looks official church-like. And then my book, my good book was actually the Mandalorian book, the one that Phil Shostak puts out. And so I had that, but I had the script inside of a paper clipped in. So it looks like I'm going through my hymnal there, as it were, going on lines. But the couple made a script for me. That worked out really, really well. And the 2 charities benefited. So Ronald McDonald House got money from that one, as well as Four Paws for Ability, which is Tim's one of his favorite charities. So I said, yeah, let's take care of you too, because his friend Doug Bickert makes one of the best R2-D2s on the planet. It's very, very expensive, and it can do everything, almost everything you can see in the movie with the rockets. And I mean, almost everything you see in the movie but that. So he made a special ring called the Ring Deployment System, and R2 came down, the lid pops open, and up comes this crystal type rod, and the lights are going on. You look on the ceiling, and laser lights have the smoke come down, and there's the rings, and he brought it into the groom. It's really cool. So if anybody's listening, wants to see that, you can always Google me, Fluke Skywalker. But if you're on Facebook, you can just find Fluke Skywalker and kind of scroll back to maybe, I guess, March or whatever when that video's out. 2 more on the way that you'll see, but they're not finished being edited yet. But when I get those there, and then there's a really, really big surprise for next year. But I don't want to give that one away because that one's really super cool. But I'll post it when it comes up. But it's going to help out charities quite a bit.
That's awesome.
Marriage goes.
That's awesome. So what you're doing is using what you love in Star Wars, and it is kind of I love how you call yourself Fluke, because you use that phrase often. It's a fluke that this happened anyway for you. But you're all using that to make the world a better place, to kind of bring hope to people that are going through difficult times. And that's such a common theme in Star Wars. Whenever we have someone on the show who has a love for Star Wars and is connected with it like you are, we like to end every interview with this question. For you, how does Star Wars inspire hope?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's so many underdog stories. The Joseph Campbell, right? The Hero's Journey, which is basically Wizard of Oz, Harry Potter, and Star Wars. And of course, Kickin' Lord of the Rings. That's all the hero's journey. So a young person has problems. They find an older person to help them out. They make friends along the way, and they defeat evil at the end. So that's the arc of the hero's journey. And that's always inspirational. Same with Dorothy or Harry Potter overcoming all that evil and saying, and look at Neville in Harry Potter, right? He's a little kid at the end that winds up wiping out he who now shall not be named, right? At the very end of the film, Neville took him out, right? And it shows you, hey, even a little guy can do something. It's the same with R2. When I was there, shortest kid in my class, never picked on, wink, wink. That was, for me, I said, look at R2, man. R2 saves everybody's bacon. And it makes sense later when I read George Lucas said, all of Star Wars is told from the point of R2-D2. Mm-hmm. He's the one telling the story. And like, oh, okay, that makes sense because he's always the hero and he always saves everybody. In reality, he's probably a jerk. No, I'm kidding. But as far as having hope goes, when things are down, the chips are down, like in the last one, right, with everybody that came to help him on the battle of, was it Exegol?
Exegol, yeah.
Yeah, good. I got that one right. I didn't mess up. Thank you.
You did. You got it.
So all your friends come to help you, and that's again part of the hero's journey. You count on your friends, and everybody shows up, and they, defeat evil, and so that's always something good. And I think Mark Hamill would be on the same page with that. When I'm cosplaying out there, Luke Skywalker, I'm just trying to channel him as much as I can, and my motto is WWMHD, which is what would Mark Hamill do. So it's always be very nice, be polite, be funny if I can. Keep everything rated H, which is one better than G, H for Hamill. And try to make sure that everybody has a good experience and create a little bit of magic for them. And a lot of people just, in love with it because their faces open up and jaws drop and they're like, and they come right up. And this is like, again, it's never stopped. Right up to my face and look at it and go, oh, man. I just can't believe it's not him. Are you sure you're not him? And I lean in their ear and whisper, I said, it's just a mask I got out of the bin on sale at the dollar store. So, so they laugh and I laugh and we take pictures or whatever, and it makes them happy. And the surreal thing is to meet somebody years later and say, hey, were you guy down at the music hall volunteering or taking pictures down there? I said, yeah, I volunteered to give those families a night out. Did the Star Wars, they play the movie and the music's underneath, and the families around McDonald house got a night out. They gave him free tickets to change for coming down. He says, "Oh yeah, I remember. We got a picture of you on our refrigerator."
Wow.
Right now, is that not surreal or what? I mean, it was a picture of them and their kids or whatever on their refrigerator, right, with this Luke Skywalker guy, and it's just that really, sets the whole, mindset for you. Like, oh my gosh. So I'm doing everything I can not to mess this up and do it best. And, Mark Hamill's been following me since 2019, but I don't think it's like, hey, you're a great guy. I want to follow you. It's more like, I got my eye on you, Ron. Let's mess up my name, boy, because he's got a good reputation, sterling reputation. People love him all around the world. And so I'm just trying not to mess this up. That's the main thing, or mess it up for him. As I go along and try to get better as I can. And along the way, if I can help out charities doing this, I'll do this. And, the reality is, too, this is my hobby. I suck at golf. So this is what I like doing.
I suck at golf, too. That's how I became a podcaster. Right. So let's see when this is going to happen. But it's going to happen someday. I don't know when, but someday you're going to be at an event and there's going to be a picture taken where you're standing there next to Mark Hamill, and it can finally be conclusively proven that you're not Mark Hamill pretending to be Fluke Skywalker instead. Do I ever get that all the time? I really think you're Mark Hamill in real life, pretending to be this regular guy, pretending to be Mark Hamill, and it takes me right to that scene from Life of Brian where he's trying to run away from everybody thinking he's the Messiah, right? And he goes, he's the Messiah. He goes, I'm not the Messiah. And the lady says, only the true Messiah would say he's not the Messiah. And he says, oh, okay, I am the Messiah. You see, he is the Messiah. You just can't win, right? They're like, So I'll never say I'm Mark Hamill, and I don't do that at all. But it's just one of those things. I'm just there's some people I'm not going to be able to win. And there's a young Luke Skywalker who's I'm friends with, and he'll be out there at the Comic-Con as well. And we're at Disneyland that night, at Disney After Dark for Star Wars night. And he and I were talking. I said, if Hamill comes out there, we're going to split the cost, and all three of us go and get a picture together and do that Spider-Man thing where the three Spider-Men are pointing against each other. Exactly. So we'll do Hamill, and then the other guy and I will all do that with each other. Because he kind of looks like young Mark Hamill too, handsome guy. So and he cosplays for his charity down there in Atlanta. So, it would have to do that to really convince people I'm not the guy. But my thing I always say is when people say we got to get you together, I said it'll probably not happen. It's not really my priority. Charity's my priority. Said, and probably it's a good thing too, because that much unbelievably handsome energy in one spot might make like a black hole and suck in the universe, and be the end of all time and space if we ever get together. That matter, antimatter type thing. The universe would break at that point.
That's it. That's it. The internet snaps in half. So that's not just a joke, obviously, but if it happens, it does. But I'm trying not to bother the guy. He's got 5 million fans. And I'm on Twitter, and if 1% of 1% get a hold of him every day and say hi to my cousin Jimmy, or say happy birthday to me, or whatever, that's 500 people a day to respond to. This guy works for a living, that's a lot. So he can't do everything. So I try to keep my contact minimal and all that. And because in that sense, I pity him, because he's trying to be a nice guy and trying to respond to everybody. But man, that's 20 hours a day to respond back to 500 people. That's just a long time. So people get likes from him and any kind of thing, all like that. Consider yourself very lucky, because it's nice of him that he caught you. And if you didn't, don't consider yourself unlucky. It just is a busy guy. So I try to keep that in mind too.
We've been interacting with Fluke on social media for years. And one thing that's always true is that he takes the fact that he looks like Mark Hamill very seriously. And it's more than just about never claiming to be Mark. He's careful that nothing he does could ever bring dishonor to Mark's reputation. And Fluke is a very bright light in Star Wars fandom. I want to thank Fluke for joining me this week on Tatooine Sons. You could learn more about Fluke and everything that he's got going on, and connect with him on social media by visiting I'm FlukeSkywalker.com. And thank you for listening to Tatooine Sons of Pop Culture podcast. If you enjoyed this interview, please take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button on your app so that you get every episode the moment it drops. Our next episode releases on Tuesday, and we'll be breaking down that new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer from Star Wars Day, looking at the conclusion to season 1 of Moon Knight, and seeing if BB Nate actually ended up liking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Make sure you follow the show so you don't miss an episode. And remember to mark your calendars for our Last Jedi watch party on Saturday, May 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're at it, follow Tatooine Sons on Facebook and Twitter and share this episode with somebody else. That's the way that you help this show grow. Please do that. And I think that's going to do it for today. There's only one thing left to say.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Joy, please.
Yep, yep.